Hi guys, we're continuing with the dress selection and design. So we've reached the section of walking posture. Walking is as personal as voice. Interference with natural or effortless motion or an attempt to force all women into one regimented stride like soldiers on parade would be futile. All too frequently, however, a walk is so ungainly that it distracts attention from a pretty face, a good figure, or a beautiful dress. Everyone who has watched a fashion review has been impressed by the influence of a model's carriage on the success or failure of the costume she displays. Characteristics of a graceful, natural walk. Analyze your walk. Do you move gracefully with your body well poised? In general, the object is to glide smoothly, usually using as little motion as necessary. Dr. Wessel gives these specific directions. With total body line balanced slightly forward, move yourself forward by extending hip, knee, ankle, and toes. She says further that the center of the heel strikes the ground first, that you transfer weight at once to the outer half of the foot, then to the ball of the foot, and finally push off from the big toe. Okay. Walk with feet parallel and close together and with toes pointing straight ahead. She also advises counterbalancing the swing of your legs by swinging your arms the length of your stride. Your stride should be as long as your legs and your skirt allow. Your arms and shoulders should be free and easy, but not floppy or uncontrolled. Women, more often than men, fail to swing forward smoothly from the hip joints, partly because women frequently wear long girdles that hamper a free, easy stride and high heels that shorten the step somewhat. Dr. Wessel cautions that high heels require you to throw your weight forward slightly more. You also will be more inclined to lock your knees to balance yourself when you wear heels. Keeping your knees easy is necessary for walking gracefully. Locking them makes you move jerkily. Although the heel hits first and the toes last, to prevent pounding, Dr. Wessel recommends that you think of striking the floor with your toe, since the whole foot strikes almost simultaneously. Pounding your heels is noisy and tiring because it jars the entire body. For more gainly poses seen all too often, look at the ears. So don't twist your body, don't twist your shoulders too far from their natural position, or your shoulders or your ribs or your don't move your arms unnaturally. Try to keep them natural and at pace with your legs and the rest of your body. So don't be too hunched and hunched and lazy and lousy looking. Don't stick out your behind too far out. For some ungainly poses, so those are ungainly, so try to keep your back as straight as you can, but try to balance your body. So if you can balance it, then that's good, you know. If you're out of balance, then you can cause yourself injury or fall or whatever. Ascending and descending stairs. When ascending or descending stairs, keep the head up, back straight, step lightly on the balls of the feet. Bending forward with buttocks far out behind, pushing up heavily makes you look older. Bending and lifting. Many times each day you must bend to pick up articles from the floor. If you keep your knees stiff and arch your spine, you're straining your back. The spine was never intended to be bent in an outward curve. 2 methods of lowering yourself gracefully without losing balance and without back strain are recommended. Both use hip and thigh muscles rather than those of the lower back. With one foot ahead of the other, crouch down, bending both hips and knees, but bend one more than the other. Sit on one heel to balance yourself and keep your spine straight. Kneel on one knee to maintain balance, keeping your spine straight. To lift objects, Dr. Wessel advises you to lower body only as far as necessary to reach an object easily. Use hands to grasp and hold, not to lift. Lift objects directly upward. Keep objects as close to your line of gravity as possible. And the motion is slow and controlled. 2 ways to bend and lift objects with your hips and your knees. Avoid arching too much and putting pressure on your back. So try to put pressure on your legs rather. So yeah. And then on staircases, try to keep straight and head erect, and don't do it too heavily. Try to keep it light motion. Sitting down. Sitting at a desk for long periods often causes backache, but if you bend forward from the base of the spine, you will bring your arms and hands into working position without straining your back muscles. Never arch the spine or double up the abdomen. In low, deep chairs. Sitting gracefully and comfortably in lounge chairs, always a problem, becomes a real feat when skirts are short and tight. This position will be easier to assume if you follow Dr. Wessel's directions. Walk towards the chair. Turn so you feel the calf of your leg on the chair. Place one foot ahead of the other and maintain balanced standing posture. Bend knees and bend slightly forward from hips. So when sitting, it says don't slump too much and bend forward over a desk or table from your hips might help. For the sake of appearance and comfort, sit as erect as possible. Beware of too much slouching, sprawling, or okay, so bend knees, bend slightly forward from hips. Try to maintain balanced posture. Keep hips tucked under and lower yourself directly downward. Collapsing into a chair and slumping on the spine is unsightly and hard on the back and very hard on chair springs. Notice too position of your feet. You look better if you keep them close together, either flat on the floor or closed at the ankle. If you cross your legs, do so above the knees, not at the knee or calf. Better not cross them at all if your legs are large or your skirt so short and tight that it strains at the seams and pulls up in an unsightly manner. In summary, the success or failure of your personal appearance depends more on you, your figure and carriage than on the clothes you wear. So some references were Clothing for Moderns, Your Carriage, Madam, The Arts of Costume and Personal Appearance, Movement Fundamentals. So recommended is to keep your feet together and flat on the floor at the heels or crossed at the knees. And when sitting, try to sit straight and don't assume unnatural positions. So keep your balance. So silhouette refers to a form of one solid color projected against a background of another color so that only the shape is visible. Costume silhouette is determined more by the contour of the person wearing the clothing than by the cut of the costume itself. Witness a dress on a hanger. A figure in the distance will be silhouetted against the background before any detail of the cut is visible. Even before color can be clearly seen, since shape is a first impression, it possesses greater power to convey an image of beauty, style, and taste than any other design element. Indeed, the structural seaming of a garment, important as it is, exists primarily to create the silhouette. Designers must constantly keep in mind the whole silhouette, and fashion reporters predict trends by describing shapes. Omitting the less important details, they report the prevailing mode as the fluid line. The bouffant or the boxy shape, the T-form, the chemise, or the back flare. Each shape evokes an image of a particular fashion. The only details a reporter considers newsworthy are those which influence the shape, the latest skirt length, the shoulder width, sleeve contour, belt width, jacket length, and so on. When a fashion artist can portray a trend with a few deft pencil strokes more succinctly than a writer. Because an ensemble includes many small shapes, hat, shoes, handbag, and gloves scrutinize each for quality of shape, but even more for its contribution to the whole. Keeping a sharp eye on the entire silhouette forces you to visualize the effect from head to toe and from back to front. The less essential details, trimming, surface decoration, buttons, edge finishes, follow naturally once the shape's determined. So the different shapes are fluid or bouffant, which is like poofy, like a poofy wide skirt. Boxy, more kind of professional looking, like a suit dress, a jacket and a straight skirt, like a pencil skirt. That's considered more boxy. And fluid is like a fluid dress, not poofy, but just hanging down dress. Back flared silhouettes may all be fashionable at one time. Okay, so factors that determine the character and silhouette qualities. The figure clothes are that of what women figure make them. Two women wearing exactly the same design make quite different impressions if one is nearly 8 heads tall and proportionate, and the other is only 7 heads tall with narrow shoulders and heavy hips. So, to produce a pleasant impression, every part of the figure must be well related to the whole. I'm trying to remember my head length when we measured our head length. I was 9. I was 9 head lengths tall. Yeah. When we did our self-sketch, I was 9 head lengths tall. So the head lengths were whatever your head is, your whole body is the number of the head, and that's what makes everyone proportional, and that the way their body is built. So your head length is from your top of the skull from the highest bulge in your head to the chin, and the chin not including the neck. So where your chin is up to that point. So from the chin, the next line is yeah. So essentially, I was 9 head lengths all the way to the floor, to the soles of the feet. Okay. Neck, yeah, so the neck is only half head length long, then your shoulder to the bust is another 1 head length, full head length, your bust to your waist is another full head length, your waist to your hip, lower hips are 1 head length, and your hips to your knees are 2 head lengths, your knees to your ankles are 2 head lengths, and then from your ankles to the bottom of the floor to the soles is another half head length. So half and half, for neck and your feet, that's 1. Your head, that's 2. Then 3, 4, 5. 5 plus 4 for your entirety from your hips to your ankles. That's 9 total. Okay. Just a review. And then, where are we at? To produce a pleasing impression, every part of the figure must be well related to the whole, or such an illusion must be created by a costume so cleverly planned that it emphasizes the figure's best features and disguises or draws attention away from its defects. For example, you can improve the appearance by wearing clothing that apparently widens shoulders or narrows hips, and this is referring to the horizontal dimensions rather than, obviously you cannot change your vertical dimensions or proportions. That's something you're born with genetically. So they're referring to variances in our horizontal, like if you're too chubby or too this or too that. And it says, so you can also use foundation garments which can subtract inches from oversized proportions. So since the time of classic Greek sculpture, a well-proportioned human figure has been judged the most beautiful of all natural forms. The lines of a costume emphasize natural beauty if they follow body contour closely enough to reveal its shapeliness, yet never so closely as to reveal it blatantly or restrict freedom of motion. So fluid lines derived from classic Greek drapery, but a gown which clings too closely from bust to ankles, forcing the wearer to slither, is slinky rather than fluid and is too obviously intended to be alluring. At the opposite extreme, clothes that muffle the body in heavy shapeless garments or distorted with thick wadding and puffing invariably appear clumsy. We are inclined to blame the past for all awkwardness, but contemporary clothing is by no means immune to ungainliness. So it's saying that you should pay attention to what the garment is doing to your look and your figure, to be aware of how the clothes settles on you, what it may hide or what it may reveal, if that's the look you're going for or not, because sometimes it may be that you're wearing something, but it may not be what it may not be the look you're so in my opinion, these are like good looks for dress. One is more dressy, the other is a little more casual, obviously. I mean, like, there's times where you have to wear different things, you know, appropriate for what you're doing. I mean, you know, obviously you're not going to wear this dress and go play tennis or something, and then you're not going to wear a lot of draped clothes and layers and go, you know, play tennis. I mean, it just depends what you're doing, you know. But it's just good to be aware, I guess. And then so it says, try to maintain fluid lines and enhance a beautiful form as much as possible. And try not to wear things that are too clingy. But at the same time, try to make yourself more slender looking and tight, whether you wear a girdle or something like that or not. It's good to try to maintain some kind of togetherness in your dress and your figure. Not be too lazy, I guess I can say. Let's see. It says you can use belts here, like a high one or a low one. Different sorts of belts to emphasize your shape. Throughout fashion history, breaks in silhouette that come at the body's natural divisions, base of neck, shoulder, tip, and waistline, have proved best. The natural waistline particularly should be emphasized where it is smallest. The silhouette appears thick-waisted and inflexible. If the waistline is clumsy or and is clumsily enlarged by a wide, loose belt. So those are the different belts, or it can just be in the center, like normal. So, let's see. A belt or sash moved up or down, and then body joints, shoulder, balls, elbows, or hips, or knees must always be fitted to allow freedom of motion. For example, knees should never be hobbled by skirts that so tight that walking gracefully becomes next to impossible. If it is to fuse smoothly with the wearer, every detail of a costume must be scaled to her size. Disproportionately large collars, cuffs, belts, pockets, or peplums appear to dwarf a small figure, whereas dainty details magnify the size of a large boned figure. So you have to scale the costume to the individual's proportion. Carriage. Carriage enhances or ruins the silhouette no less than figure proportions. Indeed, the effect, again, we're talking about horizontal proportions, not vertical. Vertical, you cannot change. Indeed, the effectiveness of the most beautifully proportioned figure, as well as the most carefully planned costume, will be ruined by slouchy, dejected carriage. And we're talking about carriage that you do purposely because or lazily, because for reasons of neglect. So erect carriage works miracles in counteracting figure irregularity. And by erect is not like a statue, it just means keeping yourself balanced. Everyone is not endowed with the proportions of a Greek goddess or a fashion model, but everyone can make the most of her figure by learning to carry herself well. Stretching up through the waistline increases height and decreases waistline size. An erect head lifts and firms the bust, and tucked under hips look smaller than they are. Keeping the feet close together creates an impression of compactness, even when the body is heavy or badly proportioned. And do not overlook the influence of carriage on the style and quality of apparel. Indeed, smooth, graceful movement often transforms a mediocre garment into one of distinction. So have graceful movement and smooth movement, not like choppy and unnatural. Learning to wear clothes with style and assurance matters far more than wearing the newest or most costly fashion. Suitability. When you shop for a new dress, consider the suitability of the silhouette for its purpose, whether it be school or street or business or formal. Purpose places limitations on costume silhouette in any fashion period. Defiance of these limitations over dressing for school or business, for example, indicates inexperience, poor judgment, and lack of good taste. What assurance have you that silhouette is consistent with its purpose, or that all its parts are harmonious down to the last detail? Suits tailored to a T, precisely cut and structured to fit the figure comfortably but smartly, are appropriate for street travel or business wear. To play up the character of a tailored suit, wear a hat with clean-cut lines, such as a Breton sailor. Carry a rectangular handbag, sturdy in character wear. Walking shoes with medium heels, and wear plain pull-on gloves. In contrast to the straightforward daytime This is a more dressy look, or fancy look. In contrast to the straightforward silhouette, the contour shown for formal evening wear is softly feminine. A low-cut bodice closely fitted to a slender waistline contrasts with an extravagantly belled skirt. With minor variations, the silhouette has become almost a formula for a dance dress, recurring again and again in a fashion cycle. So since its beauty depends on sharp contrasts of waistline with flared skirt, a bodice too loose to diminish the waistline, or a skirt too skimpy to flare widely, kills the entire silhouette, for it's missed the strength of contrast vital to bouffant silhouette. In a more sophisticated evening skirt, all the emphasis is concentrated at the center back. Reminiscent of the late Victorian bustle, but without the fussy elaboration of that period, this silhouette is more strikingly decisive than the one that flares evenly all around. So this is just a different kind of dress with no wide, poofy thing, contrast going on. And then, let's see here. The finishing touches of an evening costume also play their part, and appropriateness of outline is the key to their success. For gala evenings, hair is usually dressed more elaborately, jewelry is more delicate and sparkling, and dainty slippers have high, slender heels, and evening bags are soft and small rather than boxy and utilitarian. The silhouette reveals, too, whether a fashion belongs to its time. Crinolines and hoops may have been suitable for young ladies of 1860 sitting circumspectly at their needlework, but appeared ridiculously out of character for riding bicycles on college campuses in 1960. In 1860, a lady's daintily shot feet were hidden under the folds of her floor-length gown. But recently, the short, full skirts revealed all too often thick ankle socks and soiled white sneakers, hardly fitting accompaniments for an ultra-feminine crinoline. Anyway, fashion. Fashion, the trend of the times, has played and always will play an important role in determining costume shapes. The student of costume history can recognize from silhouettes alone the fashion periods as recently as the early years of the 20th century. A mission of detail straightens each period impression and makes it more lasting. However, following World War I, because of the enormous and sudden growth in the ready-to-wear industry, no single silhouette has dominated the fashions of a particular season. Each year, a wide variety of shapes is presented to meet the varied tastes of consumers. Clinging, bouffant, oblong, or back-flared shapes may all be fashionable at the same time. Although fashion should be recognized as a force which will always influence the silhouette, forcing fashion indiscriminately following fashion indiscriminately seldom results in style or beauty. So it's saying don't pay attention to the silhouette first, more importantly, and then the detail after that. Achieving quality of line and shape in dress depends on discrimination and choosing from a trend only those fashions that suit one's figure, personality, and activities. Each season, some fashions have beauty of form. Some are ugly, some are commonplace. Indeed, doing without a new dress is better than buying an unsuitable one, merely for the sake of having something new. Such a purchase fails to provide the lift expected of it and usually ends up hanging in the closet. But anyone who ignores fashion completely, continuing to wear clothes long after it is out of date, generally appears either eccentric. So it's saying keep a balance. Don't ignore new fashion completely. And don't just run out and buy the newest thing without paying attention to whether it suits you or not also. So it's good to have a balance of the two. For example, wearing heavy shoulder padding after everyone else has adopted a natural shoulder line, or having a skirt length noticeably different from the prevailing mode, marks one as a person who doesn't know or does not care about appearance. Famous people or those who have the means to have their clothes designed or made by a custom dressmaker can afford to be above the fashion. Jessie Franklin Turner, well-known American designer, never followed fashion. Using exclusive fabrics, she designed clothes in harmony with figures and personalities of individual clients. Because of her creations were contrived to enhance the figure. They were artistic achievements, possessing timelessness and distinction. But clothes such as these are rarities. Women generally should keep abreast of the times and renovate out-of-date clothing so that it fits into the contemporary scene inconspicuously, if not fashionably. And so pay attention to the way that dresses are fitting, the silhouette, and the contrast of shape it's creating, its clinginess or its bulkiness, and also its texture of the fabric. So also try to match what you're wearing, the different things you wear, like the top, the skirt. If one thing is flowy and the other is boxy, it may not match as well. So try to match the shapes and the fabrics. If you're wearing, try to match the flowiness of your outfit from top to bottom. Texture. Do not ignore the influence on silhouette of the many textures that compose a costume ensemble. Fabrics, furs, felts, leathers, ribbons, and laces. Even the texture of a model's hair cannot be overlooked, since the contour of curly, crisp hair is very different from the contour of fine, straight hair. Fabrics such as soft crepes or jerseys form clinging, fluid lines. Thick wool, tweeds, coatings, or furs take on bulky shapes. Crisp taffetas or slipper satins produce bouffant silhouettes. Soft suede is suitable for a gathered pouch bag. Heavier leathers for oblong utilitarian bags. And the manner of assembling all these textures determines the coherence of an ensemble. To produce a silhouette with style and smartness, combined textures must harmonize with each other and with the whole. However, using the same texture for all accessories is neither desirable nor good. So, have a little bit of variety, but still have matching. A surfeit of one texture, such as roughness or fluffiness, is monotonously tiresome. Satisfy the universal desire for variety and yet consistency by combining such textures as a fluid wool jersey dress with a tweed winter coat. But do not wear the same tweed coat over a filmy tulle, formal for the shapes and textures of these fabrics are incongruous. That means they don't go together. Substitute instead a waist-length velvet or fur wrap and the tulle formal and short wrap combined to produce a silhouette with contrast of texture and consistency of shape. So, garment fits, construction, press. Although the structural seeming so necessary to the shaping of costume is seldom revealed in silhouette, the quality of the fit is clearly evident. A collar that fails to cling to the back of the neck, a waistline that is too short, a sleeve that wrinkles, a skirt that pokes out its sides, all these and many other fitting faults are revealed in the silhouette. Proper fit, as it affects quality of silhouette, is difficult to define, but generally means that the garment conforms to the body with enough ease around the bust, hips, and sleeve girths to allow unhampered motion. Too much ease creates an impression of sloppy looseness, and too little one of skimpy tightness. Too pure boxy jacket should not fit the waistline at all. Too pure fitted, a jacket should cling to the waistline. Generally, in between, semi-fitted garments appear to be just that, half fitted and half smartly styled. Fit, as it affects silhouette, also implies style of wearing clothing. Coats and jackets, for example, should be settled squarely on the shoulders. If they pitch forward or back, the best costume makes the worst silhouette. Carefully smooth construction plays its part too in producing quality of shape So this is showing the matching harmonized outfit with the jacket and the dress. Like, they're the same kind of style. So you cannot wear a formal boxy jacket with a flowy dress. Careful, smooth construction plays its part too in producing quality of shape. Inexpert handling of the fabric often shows up in silhouette more than an amateur cares to admit. So smoothness is key. A clumsy hem puckers at the top of a sleeve, collar, and cuff corners that curl outward all interfere with directness of lines, as hesitant sketching interferes with the quality of a drawing. The role of pressing in producing a smooth silhouette cannot be overlooked. A garment always must be pressed just before the model steps into a fashion show runway because mussiness will be visible as far as the last rows. A presser is regarded as a key man in garment factory, for his job is to gloss over all the small imperfections of construction that are bound to creep in. He literally irons them out. Skillful pressing not only eliminates wrinkles, sharpens edges, and flattens seams, but also helps mold the shape so that garment and wear fuse into a smooth, expressive silhouette. Analysis of the factors dressed above which contribute to the character of the silhouette reveals that dressing according to latest fashion alone never produces a contour with style, character, and beauty. Figure, carriage, sustainability, texture coordination, and handling of the construction process must also be taken into account. So, suggested experiment. Trace carefully the outlines of drawings from current fashion magazines and newspapers. Omit all detail within the silhouette. Choose shapes with line quality. Include the outline of head, hat, gloves, and purse and shoes. Organize tracings according to A. Variety of shape within a fashion trend, B. Purpose and day or evening wear. Discard tracings that prove inexpressive. And 2. On tracing paper placed over the previously traced silhouettes, experiment with line changes that sharpen the silhouette significance. For example, remove clutter from a hat or side swing from a skirt, and shorten hair that muffles a collar line. On tracing paper placed over the lay figure, sketch shapes suitable for day and evening. Analyze sketches for line quality and clarity of purpose. With the class working in groups, judge the silhouettes of each member in a full-length mirror from the far end of the room. Each person should suggest possible improvements of the silhouette. So that's for people. So we're going to pause and try to do this experiment in the following part. So thank you guys. My page is facebook.com, YosAllPlay, YOSALLPLAY. So I'll see you guys. Bye.